All right. Welcome everyone to our first committee call of the month of November. The next call will be November 21st. And this morning we have joining us Peter Moore, the chair of CLGR, John Johnson, Marnie George from Team Johnson and Blanton. Is Derek on the call this morning, or do you know if he intends to be?
I think he was
I'm
just
here.
mad
I
all
just
the
got
way
on.
around.
Oh,
He's
there
on.
he is. Derek's here. I see him. Hi, Derek. Welcome, Derek.
Good morning.
And as I mentioned, everybody, unfortunately, Jeff Littlejohn had a conflict this morning, though we did speak and he let me know that there wasn't anything major to report. He will be on the 21st, the call on the 21st. So we look forward to hearing from him then. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to John and the team from Johnson and Blanton. Thank you.
Thanks. And Laura, do you send out the tracking list to everybody on this call or not? I don't know how that's in.
I will when we put that together.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, what we're doing right now is we're tracking probably a couple dozen pieces of legislation, and what we'll do is we're kind of over reporting and over tracking right now, just until we get a sense. Typically what we do is put these bills, if they touch construction or transportation or anything special district related, we try to grab it, and then CLGR can make a call and determine whether or not we can call down the list and just shorten it down. But what I do is I think what is probably most critical for you all is just what's going on with issues that we're working on right now. So as you'll recall, we have 3 issues that are important that leadership is in kind of given us the go ahead. One is an indemnification bill that again extends some provisions that we got passed about 10, 12 years ago in term regarding indemnification and contracts with public entities. We're trying to expand that to all contracts. Bill Connerly is our resident engineer in the legislature, is going to be filing that bill in the House. And I'm in back and forth dialogue right now with Senator Martin as an attorney to see whether he would sponsor the Senate. So I'm hoping to hear from him today. I'd like to get that nailed down, because then we can have that box checked. And you'll recall that it's a bill that we don't, to set expectations properly, that we don't necessarily believe it's going to pass this session, but it's going to give us an opportunity to start getting this issue out there, educating legislators. And, you never know, we might strike lightning in a bottle, but I think CLGR and the leadership that was putting this one forward, I think we all recognize it's probably a couple year project, but we've got, we got some folks interested, and that's what counts at this point. Secondarily, we've got some changes, some tweaks that we're doing to Chapter 471. That is our licensing chapter. We've got Senator Debbie Mayfield, who most of you know, her husband's an engineer. She's agreed to sponsor it for us in the Senate, and Representative Lauren Mello, great sponsor. She's agreed to be our sponsor in the House. And there's just some minor things. It increases fines for unlicensed activity. It codifies a memo of understanding that the board has done with the UK. I think we talked about it in the last call. And then the other thing is we're trying to get a loan assistance program established to incentivize graduates taking engineering jobs within state government. And so we're still fleshing that out. That's either going to be combined into that 471 bill at the get-go, or something that we'll have to amend in at the first committee stop. So at least we've got at least sponsors for both sides for that bill secured. And then finally, what's been taking a good bit of time has been the back and forth with the legislature, or I'm sorry, with the House Commerce Committee staff and the chairman regarding the deregulation, or what I call re-regulation. It's the bill from last year that sought to abolish the Board of Professional Engineers and our Florida Engineering Management Corp board. Well, to be clear, not just us, across the board, abolish all the professional licensing boards and put all that regulatory burden with the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. We do anticipate, we do know a bill's coming. They're working on it as we speak. We are,
That's not.
pardon me? Okay. And they're working on, staff's working on that as we speak, and we're making efforts as best we can to try to keep our profession out of the bill. The architects, land surveyors, CPAs, landscape designers, they're landscape architects, they're doing the same thing. They're trying to keep themselves out of the bill. I think we're making good headway. I think we've provided a lot of data that suggests that, one of the presuppositions that they're bringing to the table is that these boards are anti-competitive, they're barrier to entry, they make it difficult to get licensed. And we've been able to prove data. We've shown data to them that, to the contrary, that that's not the case, at least with our board. So I think, we made some headway, but at this point in time, I've not been given an ironclad commitment that we're going to be out of that legislation. So, Peter, that's really the big things from our standpoint that we're working on. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, John, I think you captured it brilliantly. Right now, obviously, you might want to describe the kind of what's going on up in Tally and the next couple committee weeks, and then obviously
Sure.
the break and then the start back in January. But we're going to see some movement, and then everybody's going to take a break and and take their ball and go home for a little while. So I think that's probably the understanding that everybody needs to have, because it's a little different than last year for those that have only been participating for a couple of years.
Yeah, and I'd ask Derek from my office too to opine here as to what the tenor is in the legislature. But as most of you know, every other year we do, on an election year, we have an early start, and that's what we're facing this year. It starts in January. A week from Monday, they'll be back with their second November interim committee weeks, which is essentially part of Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and then for the most part, they're finished leaving town Thursday. They're scheduled to do 2 of those again the first 2 weeks of December. And as Peter said, they'll take a break and then come back with the regular session in January. The tenor right now it's still pretty tense. You may recall last year, a 60-day session became a 105-day protracted extended session, just due to the discord between the Senate, House, and the governor. While the Senate's been laying low, it's clear that there's a lot of discord that remains between the speaker and the governor, primarily over property taxes. The House has put out a proposal calling for 5, I think, different constitutional amendments. The governor and again the lieutenant governor yesterday basically said they want one amendment for the voters to react to. And so the House, they've been both back and forth very critical. The House is suggesting that's great, but Governor, you haven't given any proposals yet. You're just talking. So it's definitely it's definitely contentious. Derek, is there anything that I'm missing that?
No, John, you're good.
Okay.
Get on it.
And JW, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, John, I had a question on the
Sure.
student loan forgiveness. We are going to try to move forward with that.
Yes, sir.